The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. I should like to begin our little entertainment by quoting for your edification, perhaps your mystification, 4 unfamiliar lines by a little-known poet. His name was Christopher Cranch. He died in 1892, and this is what he wrote. Thought is deeper than all speech, feeling deeper than all thought. Souls to souls can never teach what unto themselves was taught. Our mystery drama, Beyond Belief, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elspeth Eric and stars Jada Rowland and Carol Teitel. There's a lot, maybe too much, spoken and written these days about getting in touch with your feelings, as though that's all you have to do to reach your heart's desire. Well, I'm going to tell you here and now that the feelings you think you want to confront can scare you half to death. If you don't believe me, listen to this story.
Charlie, you want to take over the front desk now? I promised my wife this once I'd be on time for dinner. I took an oath on my mother's grave.
Sir, please.
What do you say, Charlie?
Please, sir.
Oh, yes, miss?
Are you a policeman?
I am. What can I do for you?
Is this New York?
Yes, ma'am. This is New York.
New York City?
Yes, ma'am.
I thought so.
You're right in the heart of Brooklyn, New York City, New York.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, wait a minute. Come back here. You're from out of town, right?
I think so.
You think so, don't you know?
Yes, I know. I'm from out of town.
Where out of town?
What?
Where out of town do you come from? Where do you live? Where's your home? Where did you start out from? We get a lot of young girls like you know. They don't like it at home, so they come here. I don't know what they think is going to be here when they get here, but they come anyway. Now, what did you come here for?
I don't know.
Charlie, you want to take over here? Okay, now, why don't you give me your name? Why don't we start out with that? Then we can take it from there. So, what's your name? Look, don't cry. Don't cry now. We're here to help you, you know. You haven't committed a crime, have you? Or have you?
I don't know.
No, you don't look to me like a lawbreaker. You look to me like a very nice young girl about... How old are you? 17, 18, 19? How old?
I don't know.
Oh, come on now.
I don't know anything. I don't know.
All right. Now, take it easy. Relax. It's all right. Believe me, it's all right. It's gonna be all right. Take my word for it. Charlie! Come on, will you? Miss, I don't suppose you know your name, do you? And you don't know where your home is either, do you? You don't even know how old you are. Oh, boy. Well, now, look. There's a very good place where they take care of kids like you. And what I'm going to do is... Wait a second. Wait right there. Don't move, okay? Charlie, get in here, will you? We got one of those amnesiacs here. Doesn't know who she is. Don't know from nothing. Memory kaput. You take care of it, will you? I promised my wife. Hey. Miss. Oh, heck. She split. She's gone.
Yes. Can I help you?
The button came off this coat.
Oh, you got the button? Or do you want one to match?
Well, I have the button in the pocket.
Ah. You need thread, is that it?
Yes, thread.
That's a hard shade of green to match, but let's try. Too dark, too light, too much yellow, too blue. Here, how's this one?
That's all right.
Heavy enough, do you think?
I think so. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, just a minute.
Yes?
You forgot to pay me.
Oh. Is that enough?
Enough and more. Your change.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Come back sometime. Dan, it's time to close up.
Right away, Mrs. Vesela.
Your inventory tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Excuse me.
Yes, miss.
I think I need a needle.
You got no needle?
No?
Well, I don't sell only one needle, you understand. I sell needles by the package.
Oh. All right. How much for a package?
Don't worry. You got enough from the change.
What's the trouble?
Yeah, button off her coat. Already she bought the thread.
Oh. Look, you want me to sew that button on for you?
Dan, there's no need.
I just happen to have a needle in my lapel. I always keep one there. It's a habit of mine. Hey, see? Okay, now let me have your coat.
Ah, you're too good-hearted.
Yeah, look who's talking.
It's closing time.
This won't take a minute.
I got to get dinner.
It's very nice of you.
It only takes a minute. Ah, there's your button. Sew it on tight.
Thank you.
Closing time now.
Well, hold on there a second, little lady. You know, your lining is hanging down below your coat.
Is it? I didn't notice.
Well, come on back here. I'll fix it.
Dan, what are you doing?
Well, I got my needle out.
You don't have to.
No, I know I don't have to. I want to. Stand still.
But if you want to close up the shop.
Oh, that can wait a minute or two.
Dan, you know, sometimes you make me so mad.
Speaking of dinner, you were speaking of dinner, Mrs. Vesela?
Oh, was I?
Yeah, you mentioned it. How about inviting this young lady home for dinner?
Well, I don't remember inviting you.
Well, no, but...
Oh, please, I'll be all right. I have some money.
Well, were you going to eat by yourself?
Yes. I always do.
Always? You got no husband, no family, no friends?
I'm all right.
You mean in New York? You got no friends, no family here in New York? Is that what you mean? Well then, where are they? Your family, your friends, where are they? Where do they live? Do they know where you are? Do they write to you? Do they call you up? Good heavens, they must be worried out of their senses, not knowing. How could you put them through such torture? How could you...
Mrs. Vesela, leave the poor girl alone. There's something wrong here.
Wrong? Who can say again something's wrong? To go off, to leave your family or friends? Or is that what happened? Did they go off and leave you? Is that it? Don't you know? Or is it that you don't want to tell? Which is it?
I don't know.
Was there some terrible accident? Some awful tragedy? That you should be alone like this? Wandering around all by yourself? Eating all alone? Nobody looking after you? Was it something terrible?
I think so.
You think so? Don't you know? You must
Mrs.
know.
Vesela.
Well, you must know what happened to them. To your father, your mother, your brothers, your sisters. You must know.
I don't know. I don't know if I have any mother or father or brothers or sisters. I don't know anything. I don't even know who I am.
You better come home and have dinner with me and Dan.
What's for dinner, Mrs. Vesela?
Porky-Parky with sauerkraut.
Ah, good.
What did she say?
Horky-Parky with sauerkraut.
What's what she said?
Horky-Parky. Czechoslovak for Frankfurters.
Oh, she's...
Czech, yeah. But she's been over here 25 years or more.
But you're not.
Oh, no, me, I'm an American. Born and bred. San Francisco.
Oh,
You know where San Francisco is?
I think so.
Long ways from here. California. West Coast.
I don't think I've ever been there. I'm pretty sure I haven't.
Oh, this is the East Coast.
Yes, New York.
Brooklyn.
That's what the policeman said.
You went to the police?
I didn't know anything else to do.
I understand. You're all mixed up, aren't you?
I don't know who I am. I don't know if I'm anybody.
Oh, you're somebody, all right.
I'm all disconnected. You know what I mean?
I think I do. Yeah, I think I do. Look, here's a bowl of nuts. How about eating a few nuts before dinner, huh? Just sort of rummage around in there,
Okay. Oh, look, there's pecans. I dearly love pecans.
Is that what you call them? Pecans?
Well, that's what they are, isn't it?
Oh, sure. That's what they are.
How did you happen to come to New York, if you don't mind my asking?
No, I don't mind. I just sort of wound up here. Like you, kind of.
You mean you didn't actually set out to come here?
No, I just drifted. You see, I had a home in San Francisco. I had a business, a hardware store. I had a wife, I had 4 children. I was doing all right. Very all right.
You certainly were.
Then one day I came home from work, and the house we lived in was on fire.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Going up like a torch.
Your wife? Your children?
Burned up. Most of them.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful.
Everybody I loved. Burned up.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it really did me in. I gave up and hit the road. Thumbed my way across country. I must have been in practically every state in the Union. And I took to drinking. Quite a lot. Actually, I got to be a wino. Cheap red wine, you know. I practically lived on it. And here in Brooklyn, I met Mrs. Vesela.
I see.
I don't know if you do. Actually, she picked me up on a park bench. I was trying to mend my shirt.
No, the needle.
The one I always carry. I got the habit. And Mrs. Vesela, she said, let me do it. And I let her. And while she was doing it, I started telling her about why I was suzzled on wine all the time. About my wife, my children, about them being burned up in the fire. And that led to us being, well, friends. Because we had something in common.
Oh?
Everybody she loved has been burned up, too. 25 years ago. In a place called Auschwitz.
Losing those you love. I suppose there is no greater grief than that. Because the one who still lives is left with not only a great load of sorrow, but a load of love, and nothing to do with it. Failure, rejection, poverty, illness, these are all trivial causes for depression. The profound sorrow lies in the loss of those you loved, and will go on loving after they are no longer there to be loved. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. Love and loss. Love and loss. It is the metronome of life, and it is not always death which occasions a loss. Jealousy, selfishness, contempt, estrangement, even boredom can accomplish the same thing. But even then, the faint memory that love once lived and animated the world brings grief unutterable.
You never heard of Auschwitz, I suppose?
I don't think so.
You've heard of the Second World War, I suppose?
In school, I think.
I guess they left out the most sordid details. Or did they?
I don't know.
Look, you want to take a look at Mrs. Vessel's garden? It's not much of a garden, but here in New York, we're grateful for anything that's green.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, well, come on. By the way, I wouldn't mention Auschwitz to Mrs. Vessler. If she wants to tell you, but she won't. She shut it out of her mind, which I guess was the only thing. You ought to understand that. You've closed up your mind, too, haven't you?
I guess. I just know everything went blank.
Well, there's the garden, such as it is.
Oh, nice.
Mostly just things in pots, you see. She couldn't afford to bring in a lot of topsoil. But I do what I can with it.
Do you live here?
No. I have a room in the back of the store. I help out wherever I can. What are you looking at?
What's that tree? Is that a cottonwood tree?
Cotton? You said cottonwood?
I guess it isn't.
No, that's what's called Nylanthus. The tree that grows in Brooklyn. Remember that? No, I guess you're too young. It's funny you should think it was a cottonwood tree.
I don't know what made me say that.
Something did.
Dinner's on the table. Dan?
Let's go inside, huh?
I wonder why I thought it was a cottonwood tree.
Well, don't think about it right now. Some other time. Let's go have dinner.
Okay.
Sit down, both of you. I'll bring in the hokey-pokey.
Such a funny name for Frankfurters.
You're smiling a little, you know? Around the corners?
Am I? It just feels good to be sitting down to dinner with someone. I felt so lost. All alone.
You were lost. But it'll all come out right. You'll see.
Here we are. Now, don't let it get cold.
It smells good.
You like to cook?
I think so. I can make chicken fried steak.
Chicken fried?
Chicken fried steak?
Well, haven't you ever had chicken fried steak?
Well, I can't say we have.
We don't buy steak much.
Oh, but you don't need sirloin or anything like that. Bottom round or any cheap cut. You dip it in egg and you fry it.
Where did you have this chicken fried steak?
I don't know. Someplace.
Who taught you how to make it?
Someone.
Must have been a woman. Who?
I don't know. I don't know any women. I don't know anything. There's no use asking me. I don't even know who I am.
All right. Now, that's all right.
I'm sorry.
No, you got nothing to be sorry for.
Oh, nothing at all.
Look, you sleep here tonight, and tomorrow we'll figure out what to do. Maybe find you a good hospital, a clinic, a doctor, somebody who knows such things as this. Meantime, you have a place to sleep and food to eat here with me. Come on, now eat your hokey-pokey.
Making goulash, Anna?
You can see I am.
With dumplings?
Have I ever made goulash without dumplings? There's no such thing as goulash without dumplings.
Where's the young lady?
Oh, she's lying down upstairs. You know, I took her to the clinic at lunchtime, but I couldn't wait for her there.
Well, you can trust me to look after the shop.
I know that. But you should see these clinics. Dozens of people, dozens of them, all waiting. And lots of them don't even speak English.
You know what I bought? Tomorrow being Sunday.
No. What did you buy? Tomorrow being Sunday.
A leg of lamb. Look.
Oh, hey, that's a nice leg of lamb. That's enough lamb for 6 people, I'd say.
Or 3 people for 2 days. 1 day hot, 1 day cold.
I see you're planning to be around.
I'd like to help out with the young lady, if I can.
If anybody can. Listen, you know what I did? Before she came back from the clinic, she was there till it closed, you know. It was late when she saw the doctor. And when she got back here, she was just too tired to talk about it. And I didn't have a chance to tell her
Tell her what?
what I did.
Well, what did you do?
I went through all her clothes. Not that she had much. And that little cardboard suitcase, it didn't have hardly anything in it. But I looked at everything. A couple of sweaters and a bathrobe, a skirt, some underwear. I thought maybe a name tag, a label from a store, something.
Yeah? And?
Nothing.
Oh.
But then, when she came back from the clinic and went upstairs, I looked through her purse.
Uh-huh. And?
I don't know what I thought I'd find. I didn't find anything.
Anna.
Except these. Yeah, keys. 8 of them. Who carries around 8 keys?
Well, you carry a lot of keys, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm 60 years old. Look, I got a house with a cellar with an attic and a front door and a back door. I got a store. It's got a storeroom. But she's 19, maybe 20. Does she look to you like the kind of young thing would have use for 8 keys? What? A big apartment, an automobile, a place in the country? Well, does she?
No, I got to admit...
I'll tell you who walks around with a lot of keys. A person who works in an institution, that's who. They're always locking doors or unlocking them. I know. I have seen it in the moving pictures. Jails, sanatoriums, asylums, places like that. Wardens carry keys, that's who.
She's no warden. Come on.
She could have been an inmate, stole the keys and escaped, couldn't she?
Well, she could be.
Certainly.
But I don't think she is. Dinner ready?
Yeah, just about. You can call her if you want.
Yeah, okay. Young lady. Miss, dinner's almost ready. Young lady?
I'll be right down.
Look, Anna, I'm going to ask her about the keys.
Yeah, you better.
But don't you say anything about jails or wardens or asylums or any of that, huh? She may have lost her memory, but she's not a criminal. She's not crazy.
Yeah, I'm not going to say a word.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, no. I was just sitting by the window looking out at the cottonwood, at the tree.
Well, you said you were going to lie down.
I thought I saw some mistletoe
Mistletoe?
in the tree.
We don't have mistletoe in Brooklyn that I know of. Oh, unless you buy it at a store at Christmas.
Oh, it was a bird's nest. But just for a minute there, I thought...
Well, I'm going to put the goulash on the table. So you two come in as soon as you're ready, huh?
Should we...
Just a second. Mrs. Vesela found these in your purse.
Oh, those...
They mean anything to you?
I don't even know how they got there. Why would anybody carry around all those keys?
I don't know. I thought maybe you might know.
I don't know anybody who would do that. I certainly wouldn't.
Well, don't think about it now. Let's go have dinner. Mrs. Vesela makes wonderful goulash with dumplings, okay?
Yes. Okay.
And tomorrow's Sunday. Wait till you see what we're going to have for dinner tomorrow. Something special. I bought it myself. How'd you like church, huh?
Oh, I liked it. It was all right.
You think back home you used to go to church on Sunday?
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, don't worry about it. Listen, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to take your picture.
You would?
If you don't mind.
Oh, I don't mind at all.
So, let's go out in the garden, huh? Mrs. Vesela, the young lady and I'll be in the garden. I'm going to take a picture of her, okay?
Okay.
Just call us when the roast is ready. Okay. stand over there by the tree. How would that be?
You going to put the picture in the paper?
Oh, I might do that. I just might. Look right at me, okay?
Or maybe give it to the police.
Oh, I don't know just yet what I'm going to do with it. Don't talk now and give me a little smile, huh? Ha ha. That ought to be a good one. Don't move. Turn sideways, kind of. Yeah. That's good. I'll take another. Hold your head up. That's it. Now sit down there on the bench over there. We'll take one more and that'll be it. Yeah. Sit down there. Look at me. Mm-hmm. You never told me how you liked the clinic.
It was all right.
And the doctor?
Oh, he was very nice.
Ah, got it. That shot's going to be the best of the lot. So, you liked the doctor, did you?
Oh, yes, I liked him.
What'd he say to do?
He said to come back in 3 weeks.
3 weeks? You got to wait 3 weeks?
Well, they're very busy. He's got a lot of people to see.
And you're supposed to wander around in a fog? You're supposed to live in limbo like this till he gets around to seeing you again? Hey, that's wrong. That's very, very wrong.
But that's what he said.
Well, you can't wait 3 weeks.
I have to.
Come on inside, the two of you. I'm going to put the roast on the table.
We should go in.
Yeah, we better. 3 weeks.
Come, sit down now. Everything's on the table. Dan, you slice the roast.
Mrs. Vessler, did you know the doctor at the clinic told our young friend here to come back in 3 weeks? Can you try that? 3 weeks? Hold out your plate, young lady.
What is that?
What's what?
On my plate. It's goat meat.
That's lamb.
I can't eat that. I never eat that. Nobody ever eats that.
That's a nice roast lamb.
No, you can't eat that. The wool gets in your mouth.
The wool?
From the lamb. It gets in your mouth and it sticks in your throat. Don't you know that?
It does no such thing.
Mrs. Vessler, never mind. Give me back your plate, young lady. You don't have to eat it.
I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Really. Now I know where you came from.
Amnesia is a Greek word meaning forgetfulness. The dictionary tells us that amnesia may result from brain injury, shock, fever, repression, or other trauma. There are many types of amnesia, but from which one our young heroine suffers is really not our concern, for this is a story, plain and simple, nothing more. I'll return shortly with the concluding act. At the end of the preceding act, Dan announced with some authority that he now knew whence the young girl with amnesia had come, where her aimless journey had started that had ended incongruously in Brooklyn, New York. Equipped with some clues, which he has kept to himself, and carrying 3 snapshots and a set of 8 keys, he has set out to discover the girl's roots.
Yeah? Something you want?
A little help with something, if you can.
Happy to oblige.
Do these look familiar to you?
Not straight off. Let's look at them. Well, the blanks came from the Amos Key Company. It says right here on the keys.
Yes, I know. I've been trying to locate them.
Well, they're in Oklahoma City.
Oh, well, I haven't been there yet. I've been all through Kansas.
I don't think I made these. They look as though they were all made at the same time. Not too long ago, I'd say.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think I remember making all these keys. How many?
There's 8 of them.
Oh, I ought to remember that, but I don't.
Okay, thanks.
Some other town, I imagine.
I'm moving on to Anadarko. I'll try there.
You got some special reason? You don't mind my asking.
No. I'm trying to locate somebody. The person these keys probably belong to.
You're not from around here, are you?
I'm from Brooklyn.
New York?
That's right. Before that, I lived in San Francisco. Had a hardware shop there, about like this one.
Is that a fact?
Gave it up when I lost my family in a fire.
Let's look at those keys again. That's funny. 8 keys together on one key ring.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Wait a minute. Wait Minute. These must belong to that woman who lives in Caddo.
Oh, where's that?
Oh, 40, 50 miles from here. But I heard about her. She came here a few years ago. First thing she did was put 8 locks on her front door.
8 locks?
Everybody was talking about it. 8 locks. What she'd do was to lock 2 of the 8 locks when she went out, you see? Any old 2. She had it figured out, did a burglar try to break in? He'd go nuts trying to pick the right locks. Of course, she'd know which, too. But it'd take him an hour, maybe more, to figure it out. And by that time, somebody'd see what he was up to. She'd remember because she'd write down the numbers on the back of her hand. Yeah, I remember the whole thing now.
You know the lady's name?
Don't know they ever knew it. But you just ask around Caddo. Ask for the house with the 8 locks. Anybody'll know.
Does she have a daughter about 19, 20?
Seems to me I heard something about a daughter. I forget what.
Well, thanks. Thanks very much.
Anytime.
You happen to know a good restaurant around here? I'd like to get a good dinner. A couple of lamb chops, maybe, and a baked potato.
Lamb chops?
Yes.
Hardly anybody eats lamb around here. Now, if you want pork chops, pork's at the top of the list here.
Okay. I'll get me some pork chops.
In these parts, everybody says you can taste the lamb wool.
Yeah, I know. It sticks in your throat. Well, thanks again.
Anytime.
Mrs. Turnbull. Will you please come to the door, Mrs. Turnbull? I have some news for you. It's about your daughter, Mrs. Turnbull. Will you please come to the door? I'm not going to go away, lady, so you'd better open the door. If you don't open the door, I'm going to get the police. Did you hear me? I want to tell you about your daughter. I'm going to stand right here until you open. Well, that's better. You, Mrs. Turnbull?
What do you want?
First, I want to come in. I don't want to stand out here when I tell you about your daughter.
What do you know about my daughter?
Is it okay to come in?
Well, come on in.
Thanks. That's quite a system you've got there. All those locks?
Well, you never know. Better safe than sorry.
I guess so.
I know so. Now, what's this about Helen?
Helen? Is that your daughter's name?
Don't you know?
Well, she never told me her name.
Picked you up in a bar, is that it?
No, that's not it at all. I met her in a store where I work. It's a notion store in Brooklyn. Sells thread, needles.
I know what notions are.
Well, she bought some thread to sew the button back on her coat. I offered to do it for her, and she let me.
That all she let you do?
No.
I thought so.
She let me sew up the lining, too.
Yeah? And then what?
She came home to dinner.
Yeah? And?
With me and the woman I work for.
All this chummy stuff. And you didn't ask her name.
She doesn't know her name.
Traveling incognito, is that it?
She doesn't know who she is.
Oh, she knows perfectly well.
It's called amnesia, Mrs. Turnbull. Loss of memory. She doesn't know who she is, her name, where she comes from.
Well, how come you found me here in Caddo?
Well, I've been all over the country in my time, Mrs. Turnbull. I was what you'd call a hobo. Yeah, a bum. I put certain things together. Headed west, wound up here in Oklahoma. The man in the hardware store told me about you. You and your 8 locks on the door. Helen was carrying 8 keys in her purse, so... Well, everything fitted together. Here are the keys. Want to try them? And here's a picture. I took it myself.
Now, that's Helen, all right.
Well?
Well, what?
What are you going to do about it?
Well, what am I supposed to do?
Don't you want to see her?
I don't mind. Tell her to come home where she belongs.
Mrs. Turnbull, she has no memory. No memory of home, of you, of anything. Don't you understand? She doesn't know who she is.
So tell her.
It wouldn't do any good. Look, she's been going to a clinic in New York. They're very nice to her, but they can't see her too often, and they're not getting anywhere with her. Now they're thinking of using shock treatment. I don't know if you know what that is.
I heard of it.
It's not a very pleasant thing, Mrs. Turnbull. It means being knocked unconscious.
Well, if that's what she needs.
Not until we've tried something or everything else. Now, it seems to me, if you were to see her, talk to her, tell her that that you love her, remind her of things when she was little, when she was growing up.
Oh, she was all right till she started growing up.
She's all right now,
Soon
except
as
for...
she got to be, say, 14, 15, oh, you know the age. Then it started to be boys, nothing but boys, boys, boys.
Well, all little girls think about boys.
And that's why I had all those locks put on the door. So if they come sneaking around, and if she was out with one of them, I'd hear her come in. And if it was 1 minute after 8:30, I would give her such a belt whipping till my arm ached. I gave her a beating she didn't forget in a hurry. Till the next time, of course.
Mrs. Turnbull, pack a bag. You and I are going to New York.
You want to slice the ham?
Oh, sure. I love ham.
Yeah, here's the big knife.
This is an awfully big ham for just 2 people.
Well, it's good cold.
Sandwiches or with a salad. Mrs. Vesela, it's been almost a whole month since Dan went away.
Yeah, I knew that was what you meant.
Where do you suppose he is?
I got no idea.
Mrs. Vesela, he told me something the first night I came here.
Oh, did he?
About how you and he met each other.
Oh, that.
He said he used to drink a lot. He said he was a wino.
Yeah, that's true.
But you became his friend, and now he doesn't drink anymore.
So far, he doesn't.
How did you get him to stop?
I said to him, do you want to live or do you want to die? I said, if you want to live, I'll help you. If you want to die, there's nothing I can do about it. I guess he wanted to live.
You certainly said the right thing.
I said it to myself 1,000,000 times. In the concentration camp. The answer always came up. I want to live. Oh, excuse me, please. Yeah, hello? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, okay. That was Dan. He called from the phone booth on the corner.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, come on now. Finish carving up the ham.
Mrs. Vesela, I'm so sorry about the concentration camp. Dan told me
look,
how...
just carve up the ham, please.
If you don't want to talk about it,
I'm like you. See, I've forgotten it. Just to live. I may look all right to you, but that's just the outside of me. Inside. If you knew what's inside, it's terrible. It would scare you.
we won't talk about it. Look, am I cutting these slices thin enough?
Yeah, fine. Very nice. Oh, look! Dan just drove up. He's back.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Wait a minute. Oh, he's got somebody with him.
Dan? Who's that?
Well, Helen, what you got to say for yourself this time?
Mother.
Helen, wait a second.
I hate you. You're a terrible woman.
Look out, she's got a knife. Helen, give me the knife. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. That's it.
She wanted to kill me. Oh, she's not dead. I want her dead. I wanted her dead for a long time. I remember how I wanted it.
That's what you were trying to forget, eh?
What's been going on out here? I've been watching from the kitchen.
I tried to kill my mother.
Yeah, well, it looks like you didn't succeed.
It's just a scratch on the arm.
Ah, well, I can fix that. All right. Come on, lady. Come on inside.
Know who you are now? Helen?
My name is Helen Turnbull. I come from Caddo, Oklahoma. I'm 19 years old. I graduated with honors from Caddo High School. I was valedictorian.
To receive love is a wonderful thing. To give love is even better. But the fundamental, the most important thing of all is to possess and to know that one possesses the capacity both to give and to receive. To be deprived of this capacity is the greatest misfortune that can befall anyone. I'll be back shortly. No one knows precisely what love is. Though poets and philosophers have tried for centuries to define it, I doubt that any one of us has been satisfied with any of the definitions. Yet we go on trying, don't we? Desperate to know, desperate to feel, desperate to find. Because we sense that without it, we are lost. Our cast included Jada Rowland, Carol Teitel, Gerald Heiken, and Ralph Bell. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. When you join me, I can promise you an experience in suspense that can arise from many sources. Sometimes it is natural conflict, and at others the supernatural. We delve into the strange and the unusual. That is the shadowy world we explore. A world of minds and souls slightly askew. What we're about to hear is an adaptation of a story written by Algernon Blackwood about a man shell-shocked in the First World War. A not uncommon experience, but dreadful for the victim. His name is Terry O'Reilly, Captain O'Reilly. Our mystery story, In the Fog, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Roy Windsor and stars Gordon Gould. Shell shock is a psychoneurotic condition like hysteria. The stress of warfare can affect some men to the point where they become disoriented. They cannot tell what is real and what is unreal. They are treated by psychotherapy in a sanitarium until their minds are healed and they're able to return to life outside their safe and protected world. Slowly but surely, Captain O'Reilly dreamed less and less of the horrors he had seen, as he explains.
I cracked up. I won't frighten you with the last battle when they came at us in our trenches. The carnage was awful. only a handful of us were left. I became a screaming idiot, and I was shipped home to a sanitarium near Cambridge, and a Dr. Henry.
Now, you think you're up to it, Captain.
I think so.
If you begin to feel any uncertainty, just go to a policeman and have him telephone me.
Okay.
You made good progress. All of us are pleased. You just think about the present and the past will recede. Phantoms exist only in the mind. They're up to you to control.
I'm trying to, Dr. Henry.
Now, your friends in Boston, what's their name? Collard?
Yes, Jeff and May. I wrote down their telephone number. Here it is.
Oh, good. I won't need it, I'm sure. Now, when you reach their house, it's on Beacon Hill. How nice. Well, after you arrive, will you telephone me?
Sure. Jeff's a buddy of mine. He got shot up pretty bad. It was when I saw him mowed down that I...
But there he is, he and his wife. Doing well, I'd say, with that Beacon Hill address. Now, your visit is a big step forward to you. Are you going by subway?
Yes, from Harvard Square.
Well, it's a short and pleasant ride. Enjoy yourself. I see you're dressed for rain. That's wise.
Well, it's predicted. It's hot, and a cold front is coming in from Maine. We'll get rain.
Oh, maybe fog.
I can do without fog. It reminds me of gas drifting through the barbed wire toward our trenches. I left Dr. Henry. He and his staff had been wonderful to me. I wore my hat and raincoat, and I had the feeling that everyone was watching me. You know the feeling, like you're an intruder. Well, nothing happened. In the subway, I read the car cards, and then I got off and climbed upstairs to the street. Fog, thick as sheep's wool. I didn't know where to turn. I'm sorry, officer. I can't see a thing.
Oh, that's all right. Me neither. It rolled in about half an hour ago.
Where am I?
Tremont Street. Yeah, I wouldn't move around very much. Most cars are to stand still, but there's always some nut who tries to drive. Who wouldn't see you, and you're hit. No, I'm not moving.
But I'm expected at my friend's.
No, they'll wait. If they got windows, they can see you'd be stuck.
They're on Beacon Hill.
Across the public gardens in that sea of fog. No, you stick around a while. The fog will lift.
I can make it.
Well, suit yourself.
I just have to reach my friends.
But wait a few minutes. You wander around through the park, you could stumble into the lake. Are you all right?
Huh? Oh, yeah, sure.
You look kind of worked up.
I was in the war, and
Hello?
the fog...
Hello?
Huh?
Oh, help me. Help me. Oh, officer. Oh, you have to help me.
No, what is it, lady?
I'm lost.
Well, so am I. So this man here. Now, no one can find his way in this thick fog.
No, but I said I'd be there, and he'll be waiting.
Well, my advice is to stay put.
I have to get to Morley Street on Beacon Hill.
Oh, that's where I'm going, too.
Oh, then let's find it, please.
I'm warning you, lady. You go groping around in this mess and you could be hurt.
I'll go with you.
Oh.
Remember, I warned you. I hope I don't see you in the morgue.
Hold my hand.
Yes.
Tight.
Yes.
Come on now.
Oh, you're very kind.
That's all right. I don't know the hill except it's above the gardens.
Oh, if I could only see.
Yeah, it's unreal.
What a phantom world. I hate it.
So do I. Hold on. What's your name?
Well, that's unimportant. I don't mean to be rude, but we'll never see each other again.
Even in the fog, I can see how beautiful you are.
Oh, well, thank you.
Holding your hand does me good. You're real.
I should think so.
I mean, I'm Captain O'Reilly, Army, shipped out for shell shock.
Oh, well, are you... should you be out? I mean, isn't there a sanitarium?
No, I'm fine.
What did you mean? I'm real.
Not an illusion. That's what I suffer from. Not knowing what's real and what isn't.
Now you know.
Sure.
Oh.
It's slow going, but if we stick to the path, we'll be all right.
Your doctor said you could come into Boston alone?
Sure. Dr. Henry. Hey, you're not afraid of me, are you?
Oh, no.
We're never dangerous, except maybe to ourselves. Like you reach for something you see, and it isn't there. That's why it's good to hold your hand. And don't be nervous. We'll find your house.
Oh, but will I be in time?
Inching along seemed like it took hours instead of 20 minutes. We went uphill, and the path ended, and there was a sidewalk and a curb. You couldn't see the narrow Georgian houses across the street. They were just shadows behind the white fog, like dark cloth under thin white. And here and there I saw pinpoints of yellow lights.
Oh, Morley Street, this way. To the right.
Hold on.
Oh, no, I can find my way now.
I'll see you to your door.
No, please don't. There's no need.
But I'm going there myself. My friends, the Collards, you may know them. They live on Morley.
Oh, you'll find them.
I hope so. What I thought was, if you don't mind, I'd telephone them and tell Jeff that...
Oh, no, I can't let you do that. The telephone service has been cut off.
Oh?
I'm leaving Boston tomorrow. We are, that is.
Oh.
And the house is closed.
My number is 141. You can head me in the right direction.
Oh, of course. I'm 99. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank heaven. Oh, I'm so late. Oh, please be there.
The woman broke away from me and ran through the open iron rail gate. I hurried after her. She entered the house through an open door, and that struck me as peculiar. I followed. Inside, I found myself in a dark hallway. I could hear her steps as she ran upstairs, and I called, "Hello?"
Please go away. Please.
"I'm coming up. The door was wide open, and you don't know who's in the house. Wait for me."
I'm nervous, Jeff. You'd think your friend Terry would have telephoned.
Well, if he could, but he doesn't know Boston.
I hope he didn't panic.
He could have. But Dr. Henry says that he thinks the captain's ready to rejoin society. Oh, May, you'll like him. Except for Terry O'Reilly, I'd be dead.
Well, maybe we'd better telephone Dr. Henry and the police.
No, let's give it a few more minutes. Fog seems to be lifting a little.
I don't like to think of him wandering around out there lost.
Well, everyone out there's lost, darling. Nothing moves in fog this heavy, and that's really bad for Terry. You know, there's something spooky about fog.
Oh.
Even a normal person sees things in it. Ghosts, figures of the imagination.
Well, I've got a funny feeling about your army buddy.
All right.
Fog or no fog, he ought to have been here by now. He's over an hour late,
Well,
Jeff.
the number's on the desk by the phone. It's Dr. Henry's. I'm going out on the stoop. Maybe I'll see him stumbling along.
Dr. Henry speaking.
It's Mrs. Collard, Doctor. It's about Captain O'Reilly. He's an hour late, and I'm
Dear me, that's disturbing.
The problem is the fog.
The fog?
Boston is socked in.
Oh, well, then that relieves me. He must be waiting for it to lift. It's raining here in Cambridge. When the fog lifts, he'll turn up.
But it's been an hour, Doctor.
Now, don't you worry, Mrs. Collard. The captain knows what to do if he becomes confused. He has my number, and I've told him not to hesitate to speak to a policeman. You just sit tight.
But don't you think we should notify the police?
Well, yes, maybe that is a good idea. Tell you what, I'll do that, and I'll come in.
Oh, you don't need to do
No,
that.
that's all right. Captain's a special patient of mine. I'll be in as soon as I can get to your house. You know, this experience could be critical for him. He's well recovered, but being lost could terrify him and send him back into his world of phantoms again.
It was very dark in the hallway. I felt along the wall and entered a parlor. There was a milky kind of light coming through the high windows, and I made out a candlestick. I was conscious of my heart beating hard, not from effort, but from the eerie house. I struck a match and lit the candlestick and started upstairs. "Hello up there! Are you all right?" Holy Toledo! Where are you? Answer me! I'm coming up! When the woman screamed, I froze. I knew something awful had happened. I took the stairs 2 at a time, the candle flickering in front of me. There were several closed doors in the hallway. I tried the one nearest the street. I opened it. The room was lived in. I went toward a bed. And then... murdered. Good Lord. Stabbed through the heart.
Coincidence? It is frowned upon by many, but it is a fact of life. For want of a nail, the shoe is lost. For want of a shoe, the horse is lost. For want of a horse, the rider is lost. What else is that except coincidence? Who is responsible for the want of a nail? How was the doctor to know that when Captain O'Reilly emerged from the subway in Boston, that he would walk into a thick fog? Coincidence? When I return with Act 2, we'll find out where coincidence next led Captain O'Reilly. Coincidence is remarkable because of the lack of apparent connection between a group of events. That's how it seems. And why not? You meet someone you haven't seen for years. You may renew the relationship with good or bad results, and all because of an accidental meeting. When you look back on what followed, how can you explain it? An unexpected meeting, a coincidence. Well, Captain O'Reilly met a stranger, a woman as lost as he. When he followed her upstairs, he found her in a bedroom, murdered.
To say I was shocked isn't strong enough. Almost without realizing it, I removed my hat. The dead woman was no illusion. This was real. Selfishly, I knew that this was good for me. I could distinguish between the real and the unreal. That gave me enough confidence to leave, and I left fast, running down the stairs. Then I heard a door closing. For a moment, I hesitated. Then I went outside into the fog.
Hello there.
Huh? Oh, hello.
Don't be afraid. I'm a physician, Dr. Sprague.
Oh?
Is something the matter? Can I be of help?
No, I'm lost.
It's a little more than that, isn't it?
You really are a doctor?
Oh, yes, I live close by. Why don't you come with me until you calm down and get control of yourself?
I'm late for my friends.
Well, 5 minutes won't make any difference. Your name?
O'Reilly. Captain O'Reilly. I could telephone from your house, couldn't I?
Of course. You've recently been discharged from service, Captain.
Yes.
Shell shock?
You can tell that?
Oh, a shrewd guess. You're distraught and you're perspiring.
I'm almost cured. I'm going to be okay.
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Thanks. So is Dr. Henry.
Oh, yes, the doctor with the sanitarium in Cambridge, of course.
He'll be worried about me. So will my friends.
Well, the telephone.
Yes, that's a good idea. You're very considerate, Dr. Sprague.
By the way, how did you get here to the hill?
Well, my friends live on Morley Street. I walked through the public gardens.
From Tremont Street? How could you see?
I couldn't. We held on to each other, and we managed. I don't know how.
We?
Some woman. This is her house. I saw her to the door.
You didn't follow her in?
She just flew in and up the stairs. I called. You see, the front gate and the door were open, and I was afraid for her.
That's quite an experience, Captain.
Yes.
First the fog, and then this woman. Who was she, by the way?
I don't know. Well, she was frantic. She was meeting someone, and she was afraid she would be too late.
Ah, poor thing. Well, come with me.
All right.
You didn't follow the woman into the house.
Well, I
asked because you said that the gate and the door were open. The gate is still open, but the front door, Captain. The front door is now closed.
Well, he's been seen.
I'm relieved.
A policeman spoke with him when he came out of the subway on Tremont.
Terry seemed to be all right. And then some woman came along, and they headed into the public gardens toward the hill.
A woman?
Now, that's what the policeman said. A stranger. Now, she was lost, too, and was acting pretty wild.
You looked around?
Yeah. The fog isn't that bad now. It's begun to drizzle. I walked around the block calling his name.
Well, now, what do we do now?
Nothing. The police are on the lookout for him, and we know that Terry is somewhere in the neighborhood.
That's funny about this woman.
Why, what's funny about her? She's not imaginary. The cops saw her, and they saw them set out together.
The doctor saying the door was closed. That bothered me. I knew I'd been in the woman's house. I didn't know what to do. The right thing was to notify the police. But would they believe I hadn't murdered the woman? We reached Dr. Sprague's house in a few minutes. He led me into a handsome study.
Oh, you want to telephone your friends, or may I do that for you? Have you the number?
I wrote it down. Here it is.
Yes, thank you. Operator, give me 1961, please. You can just relax.
Well, it's mighty nice of you to take me in.
Oh, I'm glad to be of help.
Yes, Jeff Collins speaking.
Oh, this is Dr. Sprague. Captain O'Reilly is with me.
Oh, is he all right?
Oh, perfectly. I'll send him on his way in 5 minutes.
Thank you. I'm at 141 Morley. And he really is all right?
Yes, I met him on the street and noticed he was upset, so I brought him here to relax. He'll be along shortly.
Where are you, Doctor? I can come for him.
There's no need to do that.
Well, I'd like to, if you don't mind. Your address?
99 Morley.
Oh, for heaven's sake, that's only a block away. I'll be right along. And thank you, Doctor.
Now, you feel relieved.
Yes. I know they've been worried.
So Dr. Henry allowed you to come into Boston?
Yes. Jeff Collards visited me several times at the sanitarium, and last week he invited me to his house for dinner. Dr. Henry approved. It all worked well until I stepped into that fog.
And you were afraid that you might retreat into your, well, how shall I put it, your other world?
You know about shell shock.
Quite a good deal. You experienced a dreadful shock, didn't you?
Pardon me?
Something about that house and the strange woman. Why don't you tell me about it? In confidence, of course. I'm a doctor. Keeping it bottled up could be bad for you. What about the open gate and the open door and the strange woman, Captain?
I told him everything. How I bumped into the cop and the woman coming up, the stumbling walk through the public garden, right up to the house, and into it, and into that bedroom, and the woman stabbed to death. He listened intently.
It's extraordinary.
It was horrible, and she was so beautiful. I can smell her perfume now. Poor woman.
Yes. How odd.
Worse than odd. And I don't know what to do about it.
Oh, there's nothing to do about it.
But the police...
You didn't murder the woman, did you, Captain?
Good Lord, no.
Then you'll be wise to forget about it. She'll be found, I imagine, and somebody will be suspected and hopefully caught. When I said odd, I meant odd in a coincidental sense.
Oh? How's that?
You have wisely unburdened yourself to me, so I'll do the same for you. I have a story that's very similar to yours.
I'd like to hear it.
I had a friend who was a professor at the college. Unlike most professors, he was quite wealthy, and he lived here on Beacon Hill. When war was declared, he enlisted.
He must have felt strongly about it.
Oh, he did. But to go on, this friend had a young and beautiful wife.
They were devoted?
He loved her very deeply.
I loved that way before I was called up.
Ah, you're married?
No. I was overseas too long. She married someone else. And that hurt.
Not as bad as a man can be hurt by an unfaithful wife, Captain.
Is that what happened?
My friend closed his house up on the hill. His wife took smaller quarters. He'd been in France for 6 months when he learned What was going on back home?
She took up with someone else?
She was young. She was beautiful. She was alive.
But you knew her, Doctor. How could you allow her to take up with another man?
It was I who wrote to my friend about what I suspected.
Did he divorce her?
No, he got leave to return for a few weeks, and he murdered her.
Good Lord. And the other man, what happened to him?
My friend waited in his old house where his wife and the other man used to meet. The man never showed up for their rendezvous.
Too bad.
Wasn't it? And she had left the front door open for him.
Oh, like...
Exactly. What did you say the woman said as she ran into the house?
Something like, I can't be late. I can't. And I can't miss him. She was afraid maybe he'd been there and left. That's the impression I got. And your friend said the front door was open?
That's what he told me.
The only difference between the stories is that I walked in not as the woman's lover.
No. As a stranger.
Did you bring him back, Jeff?
No, I didn't find him.
But Dr. Sprague gave you his address, and it's only down the block?
But I went to 99. It was closed and dark from top to bottom.
Well, that's peculiar.
Yeah, isn't it? I don't understand it at all.
You tried the bell?
Oh, sure, no luck. Then the next-door neighbor came out, Mrs. Lawrence. I know her slightly. She said the house had been closed when the professor enlisted and that his wife had moved away. I asked if she knew a Dr. Sprague. She said she never heard of him.
How funny.
There's no doctor living in the block that she knows of.
But why would Dr. Sprague tell you that... Well, it beats me. And now we still don't know where Terry might be.
Something very strange is going on. I just sense it.
But you said Dr. Sprague sounded perfectly normal.
Well, he did.
Well, maybe you better find that policeman and go back to 99. I'll come with you.
No, darling. You stay here. Don't forget that Dr. Henry's on his way in.
Oh, I'd forgotten.
And who knows, Terry just might show up.
Well, if he does, you'll take us out to dinner. Mine is ruined.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Now, what if there isn't a Dr. Sprague?
What? Why would he say he was if he wasn't?
Well,
Terry had to be with him, or how would the man know us or our telephone number? Now, what's the matter with you, Jeff? You think Dr. Sprague's a fictitious character?
Well, maybe.
But why? You think this could be a hoax?
Who knows?
The few minutes I spent with Dr. Sprague calmed me down, and confessing my discovery of the murdered woman did relieve my mind. Jeff and May knew where I was, so that worry was taken care of. I liked Sprague, and I was grateful he happened along when I ran out of that house. I said as much, and he said...
Oh, coincidence, Captain. I like the fog. I often stroll around in it.
Most people hate it.
Well, I don't. It gives me a feeling of solitude, encases me in myself, shuts out the world.
Yeah, well, I better be going along, Doctor.
Yes, I suppose you should. Well, let me help you with your coat.
My hat.
What?
Good Lord. I left my hat in that room. The police will find my hat and trace it to me.
Why, is your name in it?
No, it's just an ordinary felt hat, worn.
Well, the police will know that someone murdered the woman and left the hat, but how could it be identified as yours?
But I'll be missing a hat, and somebody will ask me about it.
Right, then tomorrow in Cambridge, buy another. No, wait a minute. I have a better idea. Take this one of mine.
Oh, I couldn't
Of course you can. I have several. Why not?
You're very trusting, Dr. Sprague.
How so?
What if I did murder that woman?
Oh, my dear boy, I'm convinced that you didn't. What motive could you have had?
Yeah, none. I only saw her face for a few minutes, and she'd be the last person I'd harm. No, I wanted to help her. Someone else killed her. Someone who was hiding in that house. As I ran down the stairs, I heard a door shut on the second floor.
Well, lucky you didn't meet up with him.
I hadn't thought of that. You're right. I could have been stabbed the way she was.
Yes. Quite a story you're going to have for Dr. Henry.
Mine and yours. Whatever happened to the man the wife was going to run away with?
Ah, my friend would like to know. I suppose that man did run away. Captain O'Reilly, I doubt if we'll meet again, but I wish you well. You know, this experience has been good for you.
I think so, too.
And don't forget your hat.
Your hat. Thanks. My alibi for something I didn't do. I wish I knew who did. Who'd murder a beautiful woman like that?
Someone she had deeply offended, Captain.
All of us are two persons. That's a generalization, but I think it's true. We appear to each other as one kind of person. Then there's the inner person. A criminal does not have to look like what we think he should look like. Everyone is capable of committing a crime. For those that do, something snaps in the mind and triggers it. More when I return with Act 3. We have a victim of shell shock in the First World War, nicely recovering and about ready to return to normal life. Then fog leads him into an experience that would terrify a sane person. The fog is frightening in itself, but then there's the stranger, the nameless, beautiful woman, and the discovery in her closed-down house that she's been murdered. Despite what Captain O'Reilly has told us, can we overlook him as the killer? He could have committed murder.
I thanked Dr. Sprague once more and put on my coat and his hat and stepped outside. It was raining now, and I could see where I was. He had told me which way to turn to reach Jeff Collard's house. So I went through his iron rail gate and turned to my left. And coming toward me was the policeman.
Well, we keep on meeting. You are Captain O'Reilly, right?
Yes.
You got everyone in town looking for you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dr. Henry called on the police, and your friend's been out in the street calling your name.
I've caused a lot of trouble.
You're kind of special, Captain. Dr. Henry got a little worried that lost in the fog, you might have, lost your bearings.
Well, I did. But Dr. Sprague took me in, and I'm okay now.
Well, I'll walk you to your friends and telephone headquarters from there. Is that all right?
Of course.
The woman find her house?
Oh, yes, I guess so.
Why the guess? You were with her, weren't you?
Well, through the public gardens. Then she thanked me and ran down the street.
Oh, well, so she got home all right.
I suppose so. I don't know.
She was pretty tensed up.
She was meeting someone. That's what she said.
You remember what I told you over on Tremont? Now, if you'd listened to me and waited until the fog thinned out, you'd have saved yourself a lot of aggravation. Well, you're found, so we'll forget it.
I beg your pardon.
Yes.
Am I near 141? I can't quite make out the numbers.
Dr. Henry?
Why, yes. Oh, you must be Mrs. Collard.
Yes, May Collard. Please come in. I'm so glad you came.
Oh, hasn't Captain O'Reilly turned up?
Come in. No, he hasn't arrived. But Dr. Sprague said Terry'd be along directly.
Well, who's Dr. Sprague?
Oh, just leave your coat and hat here in the hall.
Oh, thank you, Miss Collard. Has something happened to the captain?
No, not that we know of. My husband's wandering the block trying to find him. Dr. Sprague telephoned and told Jeff that Terry was all right. Jeff said he'd walk down to 99, Sprague's address, and walk Terry home.
And?
The house is closed tight and dark as a tomb.
Why, that's strange. Captain O'Reilly's somewhere in this block with a Dr. Sprague who isn't at the address he gave.
Yes. Now, what do you make of that? We're really terribly worried.
Well, now, don't be. I have full confidence in the captain.
But wandering through that fog, it was like a covering of snow. You couldn't see 5 feet.
Well, how do you know he's here on Beacon Hill?
From this Dr. Sprague.
Uh-huh. Maybe I'd better telephone the police. I told them to watch for him, that I was coming into Boston. Maybe they have a report by now. It's hard to imagine walking through the public gardens if you can't see. May I use your telephone?
Oh, of course, back there in Jeff's study.
Now, don't worry. Unless he's had an accident, I'm sure he's all right.
Oh, Jeff, any luck?
I can't find that policeman. Who's Hatton? Oh, Dr. Henry's?
He's checking with the police.
Well, I give up. Let him come to us. I don't know where else to look.
Mr. Collard.
Oh, hello, Dr. Henry.
Well, there's no news yet, but everyone's got his eye open for the captain.
Oh, hey.
You must be May.
Terry, thank goodness.
Oh, buddy, hey, are we glad to see you. Come in.
My friend, Sergeant.
Oh, Mary, do you mind if I use your telephone, Mr. Collard?
Well, come with me. Where did you find this big hulk?
Coming down to Mr. Sprague's house.
So, he exists, huh?
Well, Captain?
I apologize for causing all this trouble, Doctor.
You've had quite a day, Captain.
Wait until you hear.
You seem to have borne up well.
I think what happened to me today has got me cured.
Fog can be terrifying.
Not as terrifying as finding a woman murdered.
Oh, no.
What? You found her?
Hey, what's going on? You look shocked, May.
It's just relief that Terry showed up.
Sergeant O'Malley, thank you.
Sure. The alert's off, and I got a pat on the head from the chief. Good night, folks, and keep O'Reilly indoors.
Well, what's going on here?
Sit down, and I'll tell you what happened to me. It was horrible. There was this beautiful woman.
A spy story.
And together we found her house, right on your street.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
The front door was open, and she ran in. A few minutes later, I found her, dead.
Good Lord. Well, where'd she live?
At number 99.
Oh, isn't that where Dr. Sprague lives?
That's what he said. But 99's closed. No one lives there. The owner enlisted and the wife moved away. Terry, you...
I was in that house. I found the woman on the second floor, stabbed to death. I told them everything that had happened to me from the time that Dr. Henry had sent me on my way until I walked into their house a few minutes ago.
It's incredible, Terry.
Pretty weird, May, but it happened. Now what do I do?
Yeah. The body in the front room at 99 Worley.
I have to report it to the police, Jeff. That's my duty. Don't you agree, Dr. Henry?
Well, yes, but then come the complications.
I know that, Doctor. Who's going to believe me? I found the woman murdered. I, a patient at your sanitarium.
Captain, tell me about this Dr. Sprague.
He was very nice. A very nice man.
And you walked into him when you ran out of the house at 99, is that right?
Yes, that's it. I was badly upset. He saw that and tried to calm me down.
Jeff, Dr. Sprague couldn't have told you that he lived at 99. He just couldn't have.
Yeah, you could be right. But no one lives there.
But there's a body in there, old buddy.
Sprague invited you to his house. You walked, and he led the way.
It was close by. I guess we walked for a few minutes.
You don't know where, of course.
No. The fog wasn't too bad, and it had begun to drizzle. I just kind of blindly followed where he led.
Uh-huh. And when you got to his house?
It was dark. There wasn't even a light on the stoop. I followed him into a kind of study with books in shelves on the walls, a desk and some chairs.
You told him your story, and he told you his. Why?
Well, confession's good for the soul.
But whose soul, Doctor?
What's your point, May?
Well, say that Dr. Sprague is a saint. He takes Terry in and hears his story and tells him almost the same one.
Yeah?
Why? That's what puzzles me. What if the story Dr. Sprague told was not about that friend of his, but about himself?
What? This Dr. Sprague murdered the woman? Oh, that's impossible. Terry met him outside the house.
I know that, but... Well, it's an idea.
No, it's too fantastic, darling. You agree, Terry?
I don't know. So much has happened, I'm pretty mixed up. I did meet him outside, May.
But could he have been in the house, Captain?
I didn't see him. I didn't see anybody except the woman. It was very dark in the house.
I don't think he exists.
Now, wait a minute, Jeff.
No, I know he exists, old buddy. I mean, I don't think he's Dr. Sprague. That man is somebody else. I know why he said he lived at 99 Morley. He wants the body found.
But he said that no one would ever know who murdered the woman. I was to forget it.
He didn't suggest notifying the police.
No, Doctor.
Yeah, but giving me the address where there's a murdered woman is just about the same thing. He knew my curiosity would be aroused.
Sergeant O'Malley will come forward about Terry wandering around like a ghost up and down Morley Street.
You know, if May's right, if this Sprague is the murderer, he could frame you, Terry.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second. He's a fine man.
Captain, if you agree, I'll ask Sergeant O'Malley to step around and we'll enter that house at 99 Morley.
All right.
That's step one. If the woman can be identified, the police may find a clue to the person who stabbed her.
The next hour was a week long. I told my story to Sergeant O'Malley, and he and Jeff and Dr. Henry entered the woman's house. They found the body all right. An ambulance took it to the morgue. Dr. Henry vouched for me, and the police thanked me for reporting the murder. I was placed in the doctor's custody until an investigation was made. O'Malley left the Collards' house, and we sat down, pretty drained.
You feel better now, Terry?
Yes, Jeff. I'm glad it's over with.
Now you have nothing to worry about, Captain. It took courage to tell the truth.
Well, he's never been short on that, Doctor.
You didn't have to tell us any of this, Terry. Why did you? You've let yourself in for a lot of questioning.
Well, it may sound funny, but I fell in love with that woman. That may sound silly, I know, but she was beautiful, and she wore lovely perfume. And there's more to what happened tonight than I've told. Let me tell you 2 things. As I went up the stairs to the bedroom, I heard the door close.
The woman or the murderer?
Not the woman. She had screamed. So it was the murderer who closed the door. He did the same thing when I got to the bottom of the stairs and flew out.
Well, why didn't you mention that to O'Malley?
Because of something else. When I got to the street and bumped into Sprague, I didn't have my hat. I'd left it in the woman's bedroom.
But there was no hat in the room when we were there.
I left it there, Jeff.
It couldn't just vanish. My gracious, if your hat had been found...
Oh, you'd have been in for it, old buddy. That's hard evidence.
But you were wearing a hat when you came in here, Captain.
So I was. I told Sprague I'd left my hat on the woman's bed, and he said to forget it. And he offered me this one of his. Almost forced it on me. Just a moment. I'll show it to you. Here it is.
So?
Oh, it's just an ordinary hat. And Sprague's hat was the same size as the one you left behind?
Exactly the same size. And do you know why? Because this is my very own hat.
You may have guessed, but I was sure of only one thing. Dr. Sprague, or whoever he was, did not intend to frame Captain O'Reilly. Weather is a factor in our behavior. Fog more so than other conditions because it's like a shroud. It deadens sound. It can lead you astray, often into the unexpected. And that is what we specialize in. The byways of life where a person by design or by accident may experience an adventure that will be unforgettable. I'll be back shortly. In the beginning, I spoke about coincidence. Is there such a thing? Or are certain meetings that seem to be accidents predetermined? Philosophers argue the subject to a draw, but I imagine that Captain O'Reilly, freed by the way, and Sprague was never caught, often wonders about the awful night he was lost in the fog. Our cast included Gordon Gould, Martha Greenhouse, Ian Martin, and William Griffiths. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
CBS News, a man armed with a rifle is holding about 50 people hostage at a religious retreat in California. This is Doug Poling reporting on the CBS radio network. Santa Cruz, California police say the man hijacked a city bus and ordered the driver to keep going. Police Lieutenant Dan Feit says the gunman then gave the driver some orders.
The gunman wanted to go to a school up there that is operated by a religious sect. The driver of the bus complied. Upon arrival there, he released the passengers and the driver of the bus and entered the school, where he now is holding approximately 50 people hostage. The county sheriff is on the scene, and there are hostage negotiators talking with the subject at this time.
The gunman is said to be demanding the release of another man, possibly a friend, being held by authorities in Mariposa County. More news in a moment. Crowds estimated as high as 80,000 went to Elvis Presley's mansion in Memphis today. Only a fraction of them managed to get inside to file past Presley's casket before the mansion was closed for the night. CBS reporter Beverly Counts got some responses from one of the mourners.
Like everyone else, I love him. You really felt that way about him? I love him, yes. Ever since I was 10 years old. What does this mean to you, his death? His death is just it's empty. I just feel like I know God has a reason for taking him, and I feel like he's in heaven. But it just seems like it's just too soon. He was too young.
Presley is to be buried on Thursday. A freight train loaded with artillery shells and liquid caustic soda derailed about 15 miles east of Athens, Georgia, Wednesday afternoon. People living in the area were evacuated as a precaution. Colonel Doug Embry of the Georgia Civil Defense told why it could be a dangerous situation.
The potash, when it is wet, and there has been some raining there, gives off some heat, which possibly could, if it acted on the artillery shells, could cause an explosion, but they don't feel like that is an imminent possibility at this time.
Army bomb disposal crews have been sent to the wreckage area. Senator Hubert Humphrey will undergo surgery Thursday at the University of Minnesota Hospital to relieve a partial blockage of the bowel. The 66-year-old Minnesota Democrat underwent cancer surgery nearly a year ago. One doctor says there is no evidence the cancer has returned, but that the intestinal trouble could have been caused by drug or radiation treatments. United Mine Workers Union President Arnold Miller met Wednesday with Labor Secretary Ray Marshall to discuss the wildcat strike, which has an estimated 85,000 coal miners off the job. The men started walking out of the coal fields nearly 2 months ago after Miller announced cutbacks in medical benefits that would require miners to pay for medical care. The Commerce Department reported Wednesday that personal income grew in July by the largest amount in 4 years. About half of that was due to a cost of living increase in Social Security benefits. Total personal income of Americans from working, savings, investments, and other sources grew by $11.7 billion, or 0.8%.